see by the title, I, which I think is pretty self-explanatory, I am 25 and I have no friends. Now, I think that as we all age and we all grow up and we have different things going on in life, I do feel that to some degree it's natural for people to grow apart. But I don't really think it's normal for people to kind of feel like they don't have any friends at all. Personally, um, throughout my life up to this point, I've definitely had many, many friendships.
So this guy's 25. I'm 26, so I'm not far off. Right about now, maybe like even a few years ago, I think most people go through this, um, especially speaking from a man's perspective. I think your brain fully forms, and you like that's like the age where you finally stop like developing as a man. Um, or it could be less, could be more. Everyone's different, but uh, that's like right around the age where, because like women, they mature. You know, I think probably around like 18, like between the ages of like 16 and 18, somewhere around there. Like that's when they fully mature. Um, so, once you do that, you do a lot of self-reflecting, um, and there's a lot of isolation too, just because you're probably, um, working a job and taking care of your responsibilities, and the little free time that you have, you want to spend, not working. So, you just kind of like, if you have a home, just like sit home and relax, not like do a whole lot. Because, going out, meeting your friends, especially if you work a job that's like demanding, it's too much work. Um, so, and especially now with like, social media and everyone, you know, we have like a narcissism epidemic because everyone's trying to signal and flaunt their status. Um, and for a good reason too. It's because, if you don't, then there's just no hope for you because you're just not going to find someone. Unless you're willing to settle, for the type of people that no one's going for, but that's like a decision that you kind of got to come to terms with. And, yeah, let's continue.
Many people I've been cool with, close with, who we shared common interests and goals and different things like that. But over the years, it just seems like they all kind of like gradually just like
When you're starting a business, every dollar.
fell away from me, or like we grew apart or whatever. But yeah, I definitely had a lot of people who I've been close with since like elementary school through middle school, high school, college. Um, yeah, So high school, I um I was having a little bit of difficulty making some friends because I was kind of quiet uh, through my early teen years and basically before that too, honestly. Um, so when I started high school, I started at a new school in ninth grade. Um, I had actually made it a point to kind of come out of my shell and make an attempt to get closer to people, make more friends, make new friends, try not to depend so much on the people I already knew because some of them were also there at the high school that I was starting to attend. Um, but it was a pretty big school, pretty big high school, so I definitely had far more people I didn't know than people I did know, so things could still move somewhat smoothly. Um, yeah, so high school I had a good number of friends. We would have common interests, talk about different things, go out, see each other, like just basic stuff that friends do. Um, yeah, I definitely had like a little. I guess you could say clique. And in my opinion, not really because I'm the kind of person who will talk to anybody, and most of the people I was friends with in high school were the same kind of.
See, the problem is that this guy um, is a little bit self-absorbed, and this is a lesson that I kind of learned because I was. You got to understand that people are shitty, and people like to ruin good things. Um, and that's because we're all naturally self-interested. It's not because we're inherently evil, but because that optimizes the best chances of survival for us. Um, it's basically just like a survival mechanism amongst the many that we operate. You know, we have instincts too. We're animals, but for whatever reason, we like to separate ourselves from that. There's something else I was going to say, but I forgot. Don't be so self-absorbed to believe that there's people out there that, want to, like, unconditionally love you or, want the best for you all the time. Aside from your parents and a dog, uh, you know, especially as a man, like you will never experience unconditional love. And that's just the way it is. You can't get mad. Like, that's just how it is. Um, you know, you just gotta, in life, you just gotta roll with what you got. And if you don't like it, do what you can to change that. But in that process, you gotta keep like a level head and like you gotta play the game. People operate on what they perceive. Like, I forget who said this. I think it was Niccolo Machiavelli, but he said something along the lines of a lot of people have the power to perceive, but few people have the power to like see through things or something like that. I'm actually gonna look that up. This is gonna really bug me. Well, there's something along the lines of many people have the ability to perceive, but few people have the gift of depth. And what's his face? Franz Kafka. He said that he was. Well, this is a quote. Like, you know, he said he was ashamed. He was ashamed of himself that he brought his real face to a costume party. And the costume party, he meant like society. Like, we're all basically putting on this like masquerade.
People who would, basically talk to anybody. So it's not like we were actively excluding anybody from our friend group. Like, we were very inclusive, very cool, very nonchalant. We could get along with anybody. But it just seems like since I finished high school, well, actually, no. I finished high school. I still had a good number of friends. Some friends from high school, some friends in the college I was attending at the
Also, you might just grow like past your friend group or your friends. Not everyone wants to grow and develop as a human being. Most people just kind of want to like coast, not think about too much and enjoy like different pleasures. So if you find yourself doing that, you should really take some time to self-reflect. It might not be like, it may seem like the world's just crumbling around you or whatever, and no one wants to talk to you, but forget this other guy said. He had a quote. He's like, if you constantly see darkness around you, take a good look at yourself, because you might be the light. You know what I mean? But yeah, let's continue.
time. Yeah, so I actually did have a few friends that I didn't expect to have after high school as well. There were some people, one person in particular, who I was friends with in a program that we went to that was actually through BOCES. So it wasn't specifically through our high school, but it was through BOCES. And we met in 12th grade, and we actually were friends for some years after that. But just due to circumstances that made me uncomfortable based on the things that they would say and my background, I was just very uncomfortable at the way that I was beginning to feel each time I came into the presence of this person, and also any kind of mutual friends we had, but more like through him. Like, we had friends, like he and I were friends, and then he would bring around other people he's friends with, and I would meet them, and we would talk and kick it, whatever. But honestly, I just couldn't.
Man, I hate advertisements.
After a while, I couldn't bring myself to like stick around in a situation that was making me so emotionally uncomfortable. And I don't mean like he was like playing.
This could, like, he might be like good at sensing people's intentions, or like emotional intelligence. Like, if he's really feeling that way towards some of his friends, and chances are his subconscious is telling him that there's a bunch of red flags that he's not seeing, and it's probably a good idea to stay away from those people. And also, like, if you see one person that's like that and they have a friend group, 100% of the time, the people around that person are alike. You know, there's a saying, like he just said, like, or actually, I don't even know if he said that, but, you're a mixture of your 5 closest friends. And this is like, not like an official saying, but it's one that I came up with. It's like, pieces of shit stick together, So.
I think it's not feelings or anything like that. It's just like the type of things that they would say sometimes just really, really made me uncomfortable. And honestly, if I'm being specific, one thing that really led me to break away from being friends with that person was their frequent use of the N-word, which made me very, very uncomfortable because I am African American, I am black, so I strongly feel a connection with that word, as negative as it may be. But I mean, history is history. You can't change what happened. You can't change the history that's connected to the N-word. And so when somebody is using it so freely around me, especially somebody who is not black, I can't bring myself to stay around them. It's just...
Yeah, I've met those people before.
Too much for me. And I'm sure some of you are probably going to ask, well, if hearing somebody say that word makes you uncomfortable, why wouldn't you just tell them? And
most people, pretty much most people, yeah. Most people don't want to be, like, told things like that. Like, if you, like, chances are, we'll continue. I'll finish that thought in a minute.
for that, my answer is, if you're friends with somebody and they know that you have personal feelings on a specific topic, but they keep on taking that specific topic and making light of it, how can you call yourself a friend of that person when you know that you're constantly and
So it seems like this guy he's talking about had some sort of, mental disorder where they liked keeping people like this guy around because this guy is probably empathetic and gave this other person his attention, without judgment, freely, and that other person was using it as supply for, like, emotional validation. And that person, those types of people, they don't like boundaries. So once they are able to identify a boundary that you have, like this guy has, for example, they're going to keep trying to see how far they can push that boundary, because to them, that boundary represents something that they cannot control, and that basically signals to them that it crumples their sense of grandiosity, like it's something that they cannot control. So that's why they keep testing that boundary.
blatantly kind of picking on something that's like sensitive. Like,
this guy he's talking about is not just not his friend, he's actually incapable of having friends medically.
you can't call yourself a friend of a black person and constantly be throwing the N word around so lightly as if everything is cool, especially not when you're black. I mean, when you are black, it is kind of different saying that word, but when you're not black, that is something that you really need to just keep off limits because it does not really matter who said you can say it and who said you can't. The bottom line is, if you're not black and you say that word, it's just a bad look. So that was one friend that I really could not continue to hang with because their frequent use of that word just made me super duper uncomfortable, and just the thought of having to have a conversation about it just kind of made me think to myself, like, wow, like, you call yourself my friend, but I need to tell you to not say this thing that makes me uncomfortable, and you're saying it like every time I see you. It's like,
Yeah, so this is the self-reflection stuff that I was talking about, is now he's kind of seeing things for the way that they really are.
nah, like you're not my friend. Like that just kind of made me start feeling like a token almost, because it's like you're hanging with me, and every time you come around me, I hear this word out your mouth, and I feel like to some degree I must have said something at some point in the past where it's like, bro, like, come on, like, you can't be saying that. That's not cool. Like, do you see me? Like, do you know who I am, who my people are, what we've been through? And you're making light of that word. That's not cool.
This is Trey. He used our trading robot and passed 3 FTMO $100,000 challenge and got funded.
Don't care.
So, yeah, needless to say, me and that friend fell out. The last time we actually chilled was about a year ago. And it was fun, but there were moments where I was just like, bro, I honestly can't believe, like, I really even need to say this to you. Like, it's sad, honestly. Another person that I've been cool with for a very long time, I recently kind of started to fall off with, which really hurt me because we were friends for a very long time. If memory serves correctly, I was actually friends with this person since like 5th grade is when we really started getting cool. So 5th grade, I was 10, turning 11, and like the title of the video says, I'm 25 now. So I've definitely been friends with that person for a whole decade and a half at this point, 15 years later. And so that one, it really kind of like tears my heart that like me and this person are not.
That's something else I learned, is those toxic relationships, no matter how long you knew that person, no matter how much you thought you knew that person, at the end of the day, you didn't really know that person. If you have come to a situation like this, and you gotta cut that person out like ruthlessly, like a cancer, because they just don't have the best interests. Like they don't have your best interests in their intentions. You know what I mean? Like they're like a hater that's hiding in the guise of a friend. And plus, they'll just save you so much time. You know, there's really no point in sticking around in toxic relationships.
As close as we used to be. Um, this person is actually one of the people who went to the same high school as me. After we graduated from middle school, we went to the same high school. So he was there while I was kind of like getting acclimated, learning new people and like different things like that. And if I saw him in the hallway, like in the class, you know, we say what's up, dap each other up, whatever. And yeah, we was cool. But in recent years, like the past like 2-3 years maybe, we kind of just like started like gradually slowing down on the communication, like barely reaching out, barely chilling. the most notable thing that we did the most recently was we went to a concert about 2 years ago, and that was fun. It was a great time. He also brought along some mutual friends that I was kind of cool with. One of them I was meeting for the first time. The other one I had kind of like been knowing for a few years through him. So like it was the four of us. We were all cool, but I was really only like real friends with one of the people in that group. So yeah, but regardless, we had fun at the concert and everything. We would chill. We would smoke, whatever, go out together, do things like that, and we had a great time with a lot of the stuff that we did. But I don't know. It's kind of the same deal. Like as the years have gone on, I guess maybe just different goals kind of split up our paths. So yeah, it's been kind of a long time that I've chilled with him. Pretty.
Honestly, my advice to this guy would be, find like a sense of purpose, or, if you're an ambitious person, develop like a goal or a direction that you want to go in. Because the thing is what he's experiencing, it's only going to continue because that's just how life is, And if it's going to be like that, you might as well try and take control of your situation and make the best out of it. And just, focus on the good things, focus on the little day-to-day stuff that's progressing you further along to developing, growing as a person, but also furthering your goals. So that's would be my advice to him. Because I feel like he's trying to focus too much on finding like relationships or friendships. The thing is like, if you do those things, like I was saying, like finding a purpose, chasing down goals, like that stuff will come along on its own way. Like you'll just naturally bump into opportunities for those things, while also doing something that's going to better you and be productive for your life.
Since I've seen him too, I think the last time I've seen him was maybe last year. Like I honestly don't even remember. So like that right there should tell you like we're falling out. So yeah. And then lastly, one friend I want to talk about that I kind of fell out with.
It's hard being alone, but you gotta be comfortable with yourself in order to be okay with being alone. And it takes a mentally strong person to do that, but you got to ask yourself, if you're not comfortable being alone with yourself, then why would other people be comfortable hanging out with you? So it all boils down to like these little internal things.
Is a friend that I met around the same time as the previous person I just talked about. I met this friend in 5th grade also, is when we really became cool. And actually the three of us kind of started hanging out together. 5th grade around that time, middle school, high school. Yeah, the friend that I met the second friend that I met when I was about 11 years old, 10 years old in 5th grade. His father owned a restaurant, and we would all like hang out at the restaurant, eat, chill, like free food and all that. How can you turn that down? We're like teenagers, we're all hungry, we're all growing, so of course you're not gonna turn down free food. And yeah, this particular friend, I never really had any like issues with them. it's just kind of the same deal, I guess. It's like after high school, like we kind of just like slowed down our relationship, and it was kind of weird because we were so close to each other, and we would literally be joined at the hip like every weekend. But I don't know. Things change, people change. So what can you do? The only thing in life you should be comfortable with is change. So honestly, I'm prepared for that. I'm ready, and anybody I meet from now on, like I'm definitely gonna be friendly, be cordial, but I'm not gonna really waste my time trying to foster lifelong relationships, because at the end of the day, that's really not what it's about anyway. It's more about just having a meaningful connection, and that's it, really. It's not about how long you're friends with somebody.
Okay, I didn't think that this guy was going to get to this point, but I think he's on the right track. You know, I think he's kind of figured it out, at least so far.
It's just about the fact that you are friends with somebody. So it's cool, honestly. Yeah. And then one area I want to get into, which is, in my opinion, kind of like uneasy waters, is friends of the opposite sex. Because some people would say that that's actually impossible. But in my experience, that's not completely true. Sorry about that sound, guys.
I'm like half and half on this. I think having friends of the opposite sex isn't impossible, but for sure it's a lot harder. Just because, you know, the person, you know, let's say you're friends with a girl and she has a boyfriend, you know, her boyfriend, most likely this, you know, would probably happen more often than not, would not feel comfortable with her, you know, hanging out or communicating with you, and she could probably already like understand and internalize that without him even having to go there. So that's why, you know, it's extremely difficult to maintain friendships like that. And there's also other things like, you know, a girl doesn't know, well, they're smart, you know, they could eventually figure it out, but, you know, initially, like, some guys are just slick, you know, they're pretending to be friends with girls in the hopes of, you know, her having like a slip up one time and needing like emotional attention, which escalates into sexual like tension, and you know what I mean? That's why those like friendships are hard to maintain. There's probably other reasons too, but I think those are the two main ones.
I'm in a basement, as you can probably tell. Look at this beautiful paint job. Yeah, I'm actually thinking I might change the location of where I record my videos every now and then, because that thing is so annoying.
Yeah, for me right now, I don't have an option. I'm recording videos in my truck. If you don't know, right now I am a truck driver. Being, you know, I feel like I'm being exploited, but that's a topic for a different video. Let's get on with it.
But anyway, friends of the opposite sex are something that I feel like it can be possible, but it's very risky, because, you know, depending on the depth of your relationship, you know, things get involved. You know, feelings, and you do different things and you have different experiences with somebody, and it can just greatly affect your emotions toward them. But yeah. So in my personal experience, I've had plenty of female friends, obviously, and it wasn't all situations where like I was just kind of like talking with them because I wanted to like be with them or like get with them or something like that. Like no, like we were like genuinely like cool. Like sex was the last thing on my mind in most cases for a lot of them. I mean, of course, like some of them, like you're attracted and you want to do some things, but it doesn't always have to like turn into that. So yeah, I had a couple of female friends in high school. Middle school, not really so much. But I mean enough, I guess. High school, I made a lot more friends, male and female. We had great relationships. We all had fun in various things we did, like class, or for the times that we did like link up and like go out. Always had a blast. It was a fun time. I feel like back around that time, it would have been kind of like counterproductive for things to get sexual between me and female friends, because then it would be like weird every time I saw them, and like the vibes would just be off, and that's not.
Yeah, I mean, he was just trying to be friends with them. But again, like, I've had some girls that I were friends with that kind of just, we just grew apart because, relationships that they had would also come into play. Like I was saying before, the person that they're with, might not feel comfortable. I guess for good reason. A lot of guys don't have like the purest of intentions, and guys know how guys operate, especially if you're a father and you have a daughter, like you're like extremely, if you're a good father, like extremely protective of her, because you know what guys are capable of.
What we needed for the friend group. So yeah. But
The people who really rule you. Most
even the girls
Terrible.
too that I was
Just terrible.
friends with, a lot of them I really don't talk to today, and I wasn't like super duper close with them to the point where it like hurts like really really bad, but like nobody's happy to lose friends. I mean, there was a point in time where
I think the friends that this guy lost were probably for the better, because real friends, they don't grow apart. Chances are that that person was just not interested in pursuing a friendship with you, or they just never did, and for whatever reason, like being friends with you at the time that they were was just convenient for them. So I think you should take some time to self-reflect on those relationships a little more.
we were all like this, and now like you text them, you'll be lucky if they reply within an hour. It's like things change, people branch out, and yeah, I can't really be mad. It's just honestly the way life goes, to be honest. So right now, today, in this moment, do I have friends? It's kind of complicated because I have people I'm cool with, but this kind of goes back to the question I asked before. Can guys and girls really be genuine friends, and that's it? So in that area, what I'll say is I have a few girls I'm seeing, I'm talking to, whatever. We have good relationships. Everything is nice so far. But yeah, so I guess you could say I'm dating a few girls, but I mean that's really it. Um, I love my family, my cousins, some of my best friends, and I feel like a loser saying that. It's like, oh wow, you're friends with your family. Who isn't? But like, honestly, like, family bonds are something that we all need, but we don't all have. So I am very grateful for my.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a good family, like, that's really all you need. You don't really need friends. Like, you can have, like, good networking and business acquaintances, but, if you have a good family, like, that can be, like, that emotional, like, relationship network that you need. You don't really need to branch out of that. Just because, the way the world is, everything's fucked up. Everyone's materialistic and just so thirsty for emotional validation that they're willing to do anything to, move up the hierarchy. But
My family, love them, my cousins, everything that I grew up with, my true day one, honestly. Um, so yeah, I'm confident that anything I do in the future, if I find somebody who has similar interests and they're kind of on the same path as me and they have the same goals as me, then I feel like naturally our paths will cross. And if it's meant to happen, it'll happen. You know, you don't want to try to force friendships because that can make them very awkward. You want it to be organic. You want it to be natural. So if somebody's gonna be your friend, then they don't feel like it's forced. You don't feel like it's forced, and you guys are just vibing out together. So yeah, I don't have all the friends in the world right now, but I'm confident that as more time passes and I do more things and experience more life, I'm absolutely gonna meet more people who I share common interests with and things like that. So yeah, even if I don't have all the friends in the world right now, I'm sure that the ones that I will have, the ones I'm meant to have, they'll come. So yeah, I'm 25. I don't really have too many friends, but it's cool. It's your boy. Let them know Zoe.
yeah, if you find yourself in a situation like this, you're not alone. Just make sure you keep that in the back of your mind because, you might be overthinking it. Like, we're all in this together at the end of the day. And, you know, uh, that's just a part of growing up in that phase of life. You shed a lot of people, but you find because you shed those people, you know, like, who the good ones are, you know. But also, like, it doesn't have to be all, bad. Like, you can leave people that, were genuinely friends with you if, like, your goals don't align. So, like, if you're trying to become a better person and grow because you're an ambitious and driven person, and they're kind of holding you back because they're kind of content with where they are, you know, you just grow out of those friendships. It's not that there's, any, negative, like, it's not personal, Anyway, that's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think, or if you're in a situation like this, or you're currently going through this, let me know. And till next time.